my friends run a little Dungeons & Dragons campaign called Good Omens. And whilst I'm not personally a part of this, I love hearing about it. I love watching all the content that they make regarding it, and I love hearing about their characters and what they get up to. And I also love drawing their characters. We also collectively like a silly little game called Overwatch. So I thought, how cool would it be if I took their D&D characters and turned them into Overwatch skins? All character illustrations in this video are either done by me, the DM Lewis, Tom who plays his character George, and Shannon who plays the character Valelos. Okay, so hi Lewis, you are the DM of Good Omens. For those who aren't familiar with D&D, what can you tell me about the setting where this takes place and what the campaign currently does in this world?
The setting itself is a nation that I created called Mirathus, where it's, think your typical Lord of the Rings fantasy world where, you know, you get all the different races like goblins, orcs, all that kind of stuff. But Good Omens in the world itself are, I guess, the heroes, though not seen as that by all, but they're the ones who have been set on a path by a vague amount of gods to try and stop basically the world from ending. It's a long story, it's a campaign that's been going on a while. The general gist of it is they're trying to stop the universe getting reset, I guess, as a way to put it.
And for one of the NPCs in this game that you've created is Skirza. Can you tell me a bit about her?
Originally, she was just one of a random group of enemies that I had the party fighting. They had just gotten their airship called the Bet. You know, after doing that, I was like, hey, what would be a fun encounter for that? Let's go with Harpies. You know, after this encounter with the Harpies, one of our other player characters, Emeric, he actually decided to spare one of them. Originally, it was like a player thought experiment of, you know, is a monster like that because it's how they're raised, or are they just inherently violent creature? So it started like that, but then this character became a lot more of a central figure in the party. So effectively we have a Harpy serving as a sort of DM PC, but not planned originally to be like that. It just kind of happened.
What would you say are her aspirations and goals having joined the campaign now?
She doesn't really have any big goals per se. More so she just kind of wants to keep the party safe. Basically, the party are like the only people that she's actually been close to, so she wants to maintain that while also going along with them on this journey and making sure that none of them fall along the way.
And is there anyone you'd say she's particularly close to?
Our resident party wizard, Emeric, is the person serving as her mentor for like teaching her magic, all that stuff. He's definitely the party member that she's the closest with because, again, he's the one that taught her how to speak, how to do magic, how to do all that stuff, and they share this almost, obviously, mentor and student bond, but also it kind of delves into a like younger sister, older brother dynamic, and I think she also has that dynamic with the rest of the party. She's generally more of the sarcastic straight man who's a bit done with some of the stuff that the group does, but she definitely nestles into that little sister role of the group.
Can you tell me something maybe interesting or funny that's happened in regards to Skirza during the campaign?
There was a time where basically all of the party went out for a dinner, but the only ones who didn't go were Emeric and Skirza, so they ended up just staying back on the airship and then getting basically hammered off of this off-brand wine that they found at one point, and by the time the party got back, it was just them completely out of their minds. You know, I feel like that's a pretty fun story for her. I'd say it's one that she holds kind of dear to her heart.
And after talking to you about the campaign, I'm aware about Emeric's mixed feelings about his influence on Skirza. How do you, as the DM, or as the god of the world, think of Emeric being an influence on her?
I think the interesting dilemma of Emeric as a character is he is a character that is very self-loathing. So he thinks that everything he does is some sort of means to an end, or he doesn't think he can have a positive effect. And realistically, he has given Skirza a much better life than what she would have. She's genuinely in a position where she is happy to be traveling with this party. She's more than willing to come along this dangerous journey. It's just he views it as he's almost inscripted her into his own war, whereas she hasn't been forced into anything, she's chosen to stay. She genuinely cares for these people and genuinely cares for Emeric, and it's just hard for him to see that because of the life that he's led.
Is there anything else you wanted to add about her? Anything interesting or any fun facts?
She is technically like 5 years old, but because we were looking at the lore of harpies and we realized that they are fully grown by like 3. So I guess that's a fun fact. We definitely don't play her as being 5 years old.
That would come with some complications.
Yeah.
Can you give me a little something that she would say in her voice? I love her accent.
Okay, so there's a very common line that is said by our resident robot of the party. He loves to pull his "this is a good omen" line, and basically every time without fail, I have Skirza say some variation of "shut the fuck up." Basically every time, because he says it a lot. Basically every situation we're in, he'll go up to someone, lead to a, "I guess this was a good omen."
That is beautiful.
What's up, guys?
Hello, everybody.
What's up,
My name is
Gumdrop
Rockabye.
Gamerghoul Gamers, for another Good Omens session. Oh, yeah.
First up, we have Mercy as Skirza.
Damn!
Oh, is this gonna cost like 12 million Overwatch coins? Oh,
I was
What a
wondering
shame.
how it would be adapted, considering Skirza has giant bird legs, so I think that's a fun way to do it. Just
Yeah,
make
no,
it
because I saw some of the Mercy skins actually did have claw-shaped shoes, so I thought that was perfect, really.
Oh, wait, I just noticed on the staff, it's got the inky
Yeah,
eldritch,
you mentioned
energy
that.
for the
on
connection.
the
I
gun.
really like that.
Yeah.
Very good
Yeah.
save.
And on the back. Oh, yeah, it is on the back of the gun.
By the belt, she has some fluff connected. What is that?
The fur, a lot of the design references that Lewis had sent me for their initial sketch had a lot of winter clothing, so I figured some fur would be nice.
I mean,
Yeah, she has been
it
wearing
was
that.
very fitting because we were in Citrus after we met.
It
Sorry,
was also-
icy, snowy tundra place.
It was
for
also
anyone who
winter.
doesn't know.
Hello, Tom. You are the player of George. Can you give me a reminder of his full name again, please?
Alright, so his name is George, but that was formerly an acronym that stood for Geared Enforcer Optimized for Reckoning and Great Extermination.
Just tell me in general a bit about him.
George is a character who I would say is the emotional heart of the party, which is really, really funny because he doesn't process emotions like normal people do, because up until like meeting the rest of the party, he didn't quite have a grasp on emotion. Originally he was a character entirely based on logic, and then I was playing that and I was like, this is kind of boring. I'm gonna start giving him more emotion mechanically, right? He is an Iron Raw, a homebrew robot raised somewhat like Warforged, and his class is a Way of the Open Hand monk. He's a robot who punches the shit out of everyone. Imagine a 6'5" robot, right? And now picture it running at you at 50 feet per second and then beating the ever-loving shit out of you.
Why is it that he takes a more physical approach as opposed to traditional monks?
George is a monk in name only. He doesn't meditate. He doesn't go do all the fucking mystical shit. He just punches people. Why he's a monk is that he's basically using his own will to suppress the programming that wants to kill everyone. He's a murder robot, and the way he's using his nature is to kill bad people and not his friends. What he was before was something created specifically to kill and really not much else. George is older than the known universe due to an event called the Convergence. George is from the universe before the last Convergence, which is a universe where the world was nearly made devoid of all life by an evil genocidal being named Am. He is a being whose biology is mechanical and people thought he was a robot, and they tore him apart and reverse engineered him to make robots like George. He was pissed about that, so he used them to wipe out almost all life, and that's the reason why that universe was reset. The way that George survived, he was in like a stasis pod. He emerged heavily damaged, and he broke out of that pod and he went to a village and found a workshop and started to repair himself. And that is where he met the first actual human connection of his life. Lara is his love interest. When he was found, he was reset to factory setting. He started to relearn life when he woke up in this world. Whole backstory happens. He loses Alara and the village where he had grown, and that caused him to regress. Basically back to the point where he was just going through the motions. And his emotion didn't start stirring again until he met Good Omens. Because it was me who came up with the name, I've also canonized George, inspiring bearing the name Good Omens because that's what he sees them as. They saved him from a life of just wandering through the entire world, basically in like a shutdown depressive episode. He sees Good Omens as a family.
Quickly flicking back to his relationship with Alara, obviously in D&D, with all the different species and races, can basically go as far as your imagination takes you. George having a relationship with someone more humanoid, does that pose any complications? Social, personal, just any sort of hesitation or questioning?
Yes, they haven't really been able to spend much time together because George has been on the whole saving the universe adventure. Their relationship is basically defined by George learning how to feel, basically. He mostly learns through Good Omens. He uses it to better that relationship. George has only recently confessed his love because he genuinely didn't understand what he was feeling up until recently. He finally put a word to it and he finally told her.
Where does George hope to go from here? Does he just have the same goals as the rest of the party, or does he have anything more personal that he hopes to achieve?
His personal goal is to be rid of the programming that drives him to kill. George's goal is to genuinely settle down with Alara and find a quiet life. And part of that is because he wants to cherish every moment he has, because he knows he is outliving everyone. He knows that by all means he is immortal. Not invincible, but if left in good condition and able to repair himself, he will live basically forever.
Do you think he'd want to?
I'm not sure if he'd want to, but I think he'd find purpose in it. Even after his friends are gone, he still has his world. He is a form of life that will persist. Not through magical means, but just continuing to exist. He will carry on a part of history that might end up long gone by the time that next great adventure rolls around.
Would you mind telling me a standout, maybe a moment involving George?
We were making our way to a city and we had to go through a valley infested by gnolls. They are fucked creatures. What George did was, there were like 4 of them surrounding him, and I just yell out to Emeric, the wizard in character, to fireball George. I can take it, Emeric. And what do you know, he survived on 3 health. He genuinely tanked the full blast.
I'd ask you to say something in character. You kind of already have, and I think I know what's gonna come. If you want to go for it.
There's a good omen.
There we go. Alright.
Hello, my name is George. There's a good omen.
Oh my god, who could have guessed? Fuck.
Holy shit, it's been colored?
Holy moly.
Oh, wait, that's actually...
He's got the bird, he's got...
It was such a fucking
Wait, that's
pain.
bird! It's bird!
Yeah, also, I realized, Tom, you didn't talk about the bird at all during our interview. Is there anything you'd like to say about the bird?
Because the bird's dead.
No, I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
You could call this an omen of the past.
Okay, the bird's dead, I guess.
That's so fun.
Hi, Ryan. You play Emeric. Could you tell me just in general a bit about him to start off with?
He is a rich, posh kid from a really, really rich wizard family who are war profiteers. The morals are horrid. He lived with them for like 20 years of his life before he wanted to escape.
What does Emeric do in terms of the party? How does he contribute? What's his role, would you say?
He is a Order of the Unknown wizard, which is a homebrew subclass. And as a wizard, he is the Swiss Army knife to every occasion. He's incredibly versatile, and I can change his spells on the occasion. So I can make myself fit any role. But as how the party requires me to be right now, I'm more of a buffing and debuffing character, and more of a battlefield controller, on top of just having some small knickknacks here and there to get information or open some doors.
How would you describe Emeric's personality and how that situates him in the group's dynamic?
Because of the rune he got on his face from his father, he can no longer feel positive emotion. The more he feels of that said emotion or stimulus, the less he feels of it. So now at 20 years, he's either neutral or negative on just about every stimulus. It's a living hell for him. He's an horribly grumpy asshole. But inside of him, he never had a chance to grow up. So there's this inner kid wanting to see the best in people. He's the most ethical and moral. He wants to avoid being like his father as much as he can. So there's that spite and that naivety of a child.
Is he still capable of remembering how positive emotions felt at all?
He got the rune when he was 4 years old. So when he remembers pre-adolescence, He remembers having these positive emotions. But as the campaign has gone on, he experiences new things all the time. So there's always a little blip here and there. That was actually a really fun thing I did. On his birthday, he discovered that mixing flavors makes a different flavor and thus a whole new stimulus. And so for his entire birthday, he ate just steak and drank wine with his apprentice.
What does he hope to achieve outside of the party's primary objective?
He is solely dedicated, first and foremost, to killing his own father. At the age of 4, the rune was placed on him, had the curse on his emotions, and so he's had this spite building in him against his father. On top of his father treating his entire family horribly, and even allowing his family to treat Emeric horribly.
Some Fire Lord Ozai type shit, huh?
Yeah. He's got it in his mind that he's the worst of the worst, and so killing him will quote-unquote fix everything. It's a classic revenge story.
Would you say there are any standout relationships or anyone he's particularly close to?
Him and G.E.O.R.G.E, they have a dichotomous relationship where G.E.O.R.G.E is a machine learning to live and love. Emeric is a person forgetting how to do those things. And his story is balancing his ego, his revenge, his anger with trying to be a good person that his younger self would want him to be. G.E.O.R.G.E is learning to live in love, and he doesn't have any ethical constraints. And so Emeric is kind of a guide to him. They guide each other. They're holding hands in the darkness, you know?
I know Lewis briefly touched on this as well, but I wanted to hear from the person playing Emeric's perspective on his relationship with Skirza.
It's a little in depth. When it happened, it was a harpy who had nowhere to fight, had no home anymore. So he saw himself in her and wanted to help her because he could, because he can. But the more he thinks back on it, the more he's helped this person, he begins to realize that he feels it's out of instinctual urge to be different from his father, to be better than him. And so he's brought Skirza into his life, a horrible adventuring life going against these dark organizations, and he feels horrible. He feels, despite trying to be the exact opposite of his father by trying to help someone, he's inadvertently done the same thing as his father, as in he pulled some innocent person into a war they never belonged in. And so while he teaches her, it's like a mentor and apprentice relationship, he feels this horrible feeling down deep in his stomach that he's a horrible person, and like how he wants to kill his father, Skirza will one day want to claim his life for what he's done.
So you're worried that in trying to help her, he's ended up doing more harm than good, and that might come to bite him later on.
Yeah.
Would you happen to have any other funny or interesting stories regarding Emeric within the campaign?
Yeah, one of our first adventures, Lewis had a angel in a lake, but he said roll initiative because depending on how he interacted, it could lead to a fight. But I thought it was already a fight. So I immediately full sent my strongest spell at this peaceful angel just chilling in a lake, and I got a crit. And so imagine you're just a poor angel chilling in a lake. It's been great. And then out of nowhere, a giant black sun just erases you.
Is there anything else about Emeric that you'd like to share?
Emeric is actually a giant nerd. If he was in the real world, he would be a giant comic book fan. His real name is Lanius Astilian, and it's the Astilian family that's horrible. He chose Emeric because in a story he liked to read a lot, Emeric was a famous hero. He basically just named himself Arthur after that one story with Excalibur because he's a giant loser. I thought that was funny.
Just to finish us off, would you be able to give us a line as Emeric?
I can't think of any iconic lines he has.
How about the classic, "This was a good omen"?
This, George, this is a good omen.
Ooh.
Ooh!
Finally,
I'm actually excited to see how
Wink
this one goes.
Emeric.
Yo, Doc Twink Emeric, my god.
I wasn't sure how Emeric would look as a woman, but I don't think it's half bad.
Pretty good,
I
honestly.
really like the
Yeah.
long shoes.
The long shoes. I don't know why. Looking at a lot of the Moira art, she has very long feet. I don't know why Moira has very long feet.
So
I like the eye
what's
motif
this
spread into
kinda-
the arms. And
What
we've
a-
got the Dark and Evil book.
Yes,
Of
is the
course.
book. I think there's a couple of Mercy skins where she has a book
Fuck.
attached to her waist, so I just added
Oh,
that
yeah.
over.
I love the rune of protection. That's really fun.
Yeah, I love the hood being up.
So hello, Shannon. You play Valelos. Tell me a bit about him.
Valelos. He is a delightful little guy that I created. First, he's an Aarakocra, so he's a birdman, which makes him a little bit different from the rest of the party. He's 26 years old. We had to change the lifespan of Aarakocras because they die very quickly, and we didn't want that. He is the cleric of the party, so he is a Tempest Domain cleric, so his whole shtick is mainly lightning and thunder, as he's based off of a Thunderbird. That's how I originally designed him. He is captain of the Bet, which is a a airship that he stole at the age of 19, and he's just been kind of flying around, and that's how he met Good Omens as I joined mid-game. At the start, he was just supposed to get them from A to B, but he kind of got into a bit of a rough jam, so he took it upon himself to join the party and become their healer and try and help them revive one of their dead friends. I've kind of built him upon the whole aspect of he wants to write his own fate. At a young age, he was basically made to follow a set program. He was believed to be a relic from the gods, so he was very much isolated. So he wishes to at someday just keep traveling, charting his own course, and exploring the most he can with his good pal Gustavo, which helped him steal the bet in the first place, which our glorious DM Lewis plays.
What can you tell me in terms of Phaelos' relationships?
Master Thalen, which was his caretaker and kind of the evil guy in this story, because he was very much the person who tried forcing upon the whole, you are Akadi's gift to us, so you must do this and that. Akadi is just basically the goddess of, I believe, air freedom and whatnot. At one stage, Master Thalen had used a heated blade to clip his wings so he couldn't fly, which kind of scared him and scarred him for a while, so he didn't leave until 19 years old. He was actually originally given the name Cloud Gifted, and that was his name since birth until a pal of his gave him Valelos.
What's the significance behind the name Valelos that's been given to him?
He was been given the name Cloud Gifted, and he hated the name because it was just a title for him. He was isolated by one person in the temple who he became friends with. Didn't like the name Cloud Gifted, so they gave him Valelos, which he rolled with almost as a new identity once he left the temple. And Skell came from their last name, so he took his last name, and that's how we got Valelos Skell.
And do you say there are any party members that Valelos has a particular connection to at all?
In terms of bad connection, we start with bad. Torik. Valelos doesn't like Torik at the moment because Torik killed Valelos, not on purpose, but his actions led to Valelos dying and being cursed. So he's very much on the naughty list for Valelos. A particular good one that he has formed though was he made a really good connection to Tenebris, which was a different character that Ryan played before during when Emeric died. Out of the main party, I'll probably say George at the moment. He's probably the one Valelos has been able to get closest to.
Have there been any notable moments or events that have happened that's involved Valelos?
When we went to Zidralis, the capital of Zidrus, which is Valos' home continent, we ended up going to see one of the higher-ups, one of the council members called the Seer. Sounded sketchy, so Valos was very much on edge about it. However, the Seer had used Valos' original name, Cloud Gifted, which the party didn't know about yet, and a name he hadn't heard in so many years. So Valos is a character I built around having a fake charisma. He's not charismatic at all, but he likes to hide himself and protect himself with it. So the jokes and whatnot, it instantly turned to a more serious tone, more vulnerable state he was in, to the point where he thought that she knew too much, to the point where he had to leave. He wanted to get out of that place as soon as possible. Like I was saying, he's very much a fake charisma. He carries himself in a way where people believe that he is like that always. So ever since he was a kid, he was isolated, so he didn't interact with many people until he left. He's not very social. He's not one to try and openly put himself out there, but he will form a character to fit in. He's an introvert, posing as an extrovert.
Is there anything else that you'd like to share about Valelos that we perhaps haven't covered?
A big thing I built him around is the fact that he believes his wings, as well as the bet's wings, are what makes him him. There was a time when Torik had asked Valelos, would he be willing to sell the bet? And it was a no-go. He strongly put his foot down about it. The bet got stolen from him and he lashed out. And there was this other time when he died, he was falling and he couldn't fly. He was just in the state of death, and it scared him, and it still scares him to this day. So if his wings got taken away, he believes he wouldn't be Valos.
Would you be willing to give us a line as Valos?
Hi, I'm Valos Skell, captain of the bed. He likes to try and pretend that he's something he isn't.
This one was painful, but it was actually pretty fun.
Resident Thunderbird. Yo!
Yo!
Wait, that's awesome.
Ooh.
Oh, that's sick. I really
Nice,
like the helmet.
Whatever you want.
Shannon. Yeah.
I fuck with the thing on the thighs.
That's so fun. And the gun itself. Oh my god, the gun itself with the V crest. I think the Pharaoh one's my favorite so far.
Yeah?
I actually really like that one.
I do also have 2 more party members who wish not to be recorded, which I completely respect. and they have given me little written rundowns as to their characters that I can still share with you guys. Jayden's character, Faelar, is 122 years old, equivalent to a human in their 20s, and he is an Eladrin, who is a gunslinger, inventor, and fighter. Faelar invents gadgets, shoots firearms, and uses his massive brain to solve arcane mysteries most people wouldn't even know how to approach. His aspirations and goals are to uncover the truth behind his late, in quotation marks, research partner's final message, find a way back to the Feywilds, in accordance with the rest of the party, to prevent the end of all existence as we know it. Faelar is the party's resident inventor, researcher, and arcane problem solver, armed with one of the world's first functional firearms, a dangerous piece of tech he designed himself. He provides consistent high-impact range damage. Outside of combat, he acts as an expert on magical theory, planar phenomena, and reckless technology no one else is brave or stupid enough to touch. Standout relationships, G.E.O.R.G.E. G.E.O.R.G.E is one of the last original Good Omens members alongside Faelar. Stranded far from home, Faelar views the party as his makeshift family, but G.E.O.R.G.E holds a special place in his brilliant mind. As an expert in arcane engineering, a living mechanical being from a long-lost futuristic world completely breaks Faelar's brain. Circuits? PDFs? What the fuck are those? Despite being built without, quote, real emotions, G.E.O.R.G.E has shown more genuine empathy and humanity than almost any flesh and blood person Faelar has met in Mirithus. During a raid to steal an anti-magic crystal, Faelar found out that an enemy High General was intentionally making the raid easier so the party would assassinate her rival for her. Faelar's reaction, quote, this bitch, she's fucking using us. Because they desperately needed the crystal to save their companion, Emeric, Faelar reluctantly chose to walk right into the manipulation anyway. Cassidy is Faelar. I know the gun doesn't quite match what you sent me, but I still think it's kind of on brand.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I feel like if he had more time and resources, he would just make it look like that.
Oh, I love that.
So now you just need your 15-year-old mercy pocket.
Oh my god. Fucking Faelar, fucking Pred scan.
I mean, he is. If you've been in the sessions, you would know.
What do you mean?
I like the belt design.
I also tried including that glowy hand thing.
Yeah, it's the thing that lets him summon his dog.
Woof woof.
Yeah. Woof.
Fuck, maybe I should have made Faelar Kiriko.
No, you have like
Kiriko.
Just inexplicably put a Kiriko wolf next to him. You know what my favorite thing of the design is?
What?
We somehow managed to keep all of Faelar's belts.
Yes. All the fucking buckles.
All 5 million bucks.
Yeah, we love that.
Yeah.
Don't forget about steel cap boots.
They're kind of schnazzy. Torik, who's played by Jobo, is 51, and he is a dwarf, sorcerer / fighter. In combat, they sling spells and use a longsword and whip in close range. In their free time, where they're not being an adventurer, Torik creates delicate jewelry, forges various weapons and metals components for household construction, occasionally going cave diving for ores and minerals. A more minor goal for Torik within the campaign is to develop his craftsmanship into various other fields, whether it be weaving or fabric / leatherworking. A longer-term goal is to finish what he calls the masterpiece, a weapon from a different time with unknown material composition, rumored to slash through the fabric of magic. Combat-wise, he's more or less just a meat shield. Story-wise, he acts more as a crafter for the Good Omens, and a connection to some nobility. He also mentions a notably negative relationship with Valelos due to past events. And a funny / interesting story he's listed is that in Session 2, he nearly killed 5 of the Good Omens. Whether that be intentional or not, I don't know.
So,
Damn!
did he offer to put on the dress this time again?
Huh? I didn't hear what
He
you
had
said.
literally no pressure whatsoever. He demanded that he wore a dress.
We were sneaking in to a slave trading ring, and Torik's just like, fine, I guess I'll put on the dress.
And everyone immediately went, we did not ask you to do that, buddy.
Ooh, thank you so much for all of your time. I really appreciate it.